Hey, what's going on, everybody? Good morning. It's a little early, but we're packing up the car. We're headed out on our family vacation, but I'm bringing something new with me and I'm super excited to be reviewing. This is the DJI Osmo Pocket 4. I just got it a few weeks ago and I picked it up with my own money. This is the first pocket gimbal I've ever owned, and we're going to be bringing it with me along on vacation to Lake Erie and Niagara Falls to see how it handles as a travel camera. I want you to come along for this ride. I'm excited. I hope you are. So let's get to it. Okay, we officially made it. Behind me is Lake Erie, one of the Great Lakes of the United States of America. If you've never been here before, I highly recommend you check it out. Very beautiful, calm, great for the family. Now, I quickly want to mention why I chose the Pocket 4. I know the Insta360 just released their Luna and Luna Ultra, which is a direct competitor for, DJI's Pocket Gimbal. I'm already invested in the DJI ecosystem, and it's just easier to connect all the mics. I don't have to relearn anything. Now, for some of the main specs on the Pocket 4, you have a 1-inch CMOS sensor, capable of getting 14 stops at dynamic range, has 107 gigabytes of internal storage. They upped the battery life, and now you're able to record at 240 frames per second for that super smooth, buttery slow motion. And they also updated their active tracking system. The UI in the Pocket 4 is very easy and simple. It's pretty much standardized across all DJI devices. You can swipe up from the top to get to all your settings and fine-tune the gimbal. You can swipe up from the bottom to change some of your frame rates and different things depending on the mode you're in. You can swipe left to get to your gallery. You can swipe right to get to, the pro mode and dial in your ISO and exposure and all that fun stuff. And it's responsive and simple to use. So that's pretty much going to be the main features and specs. I'm not going to bore you with all that little details. I really want to go out and use this thing. I want you guys to understand what the quality and what it's going to be like to use this out in the open and on vacation or wherever you are traveling with a camera, and if this is all you're going to need. Okay, so over here, there's that nice lighthouse behind me, which I was recording over there, but now on the other side of this pier, and then over on this side, there's some ducks kind of swimming behind me. So let's go ahead and pop this Pocket 4 out, and let's try to change some of the frame rates. We'll go from 24, my standard, all the way up to 240 frames per second, so you can see what that looks like. Okay, now we're doing a quick side-by-side test with the Pocket 4 on one side and the Samsung S25 on the other side. However, I'm not gonna tell you which one's which just yet. I want you guys to kind of guess and let me know in the comments which one you think looks better so far. This also gives you a little bit of an idea of the stabilization that you will get using a gimbal versus a digital kind of stabilization from a phone. So the Pocket 4 has been your left this whole time and the S25 has been in your right. So let me know in the comments which one you think looks better. All right, here's another quick side-by-side test. I have the Pocket 4 on your left and the Action 5 Pro on your right. Once again, another stabilization and comparison. Action 5 Pro has really good stabilization. It has Rocksteady and Rocksteady Plus. I'm using Rocksteady right now. I don't think you're gonna beat a gimbal. It's meant to stabilize footage. You're actually using a physical device to keep it in the center and everything nice and smooth. So stabilization wise, I think you're gonna beat what the Pocket's offering. And as far as the video quality, I think it's gonna be pretty much very similar here. They both are very capable cameras, so it should be pretty comparable. And guys, if you're enjoying this video so far, do me a quick favor. Please consider subscribing to my channel. Smash that like button. It really helps me out as a small content creator and knowing whether or not you guys like these type of videos. Now, as far as battery life, I've been outside for about 2.5 hours, more or less, recording and testing the Pocket 4. And I have at least 40% battery life left, which I think is still pretty good. However, that's just doing regular, normal recording. As long as you're not doing 240 frames per second, the whole time, you should be fine. You could definitely get at least 34 hours of battery life with the Pocket 4. Now, if you're looking for a great hybrid travel bag, I've been rocking this WANDRD Provoke Pocket 21 liter for multiple months now, and it's a great bag. I did a full review on this backpack. If you want to see that video, you can click up here or find the link in the description.
Oh, your favorite food. You guys happy? Come on.
Whoa, delicious. Now let's go ahead and test out the ActiveTrack 7.0. DJI claims you should be able to do subject prioritization, dynamic framing, and select your subjects up to 10 meters. So you should be able to double tap on the screen and select either an animal, person, or vehicle, and it should follow them pretty consistently. So we're gonna go ahead and test that. Okay, we're gonna start off with the human subject tracking. I have my test subject here in the back, and let's see how well it does. Oh, yeah, it's following you. Keep going. Yeah, try to go behind the tree, go around the tree. Watch that fire pit. All the way around the tree, go all the way this way. Yeah. Go around the tree and come back around. I wanna see if it still can get you. Okay, it picked you back up again. Okay, come this way. Walk this way. Now, as far as that first test, I think it's working pretty well because my son walked all the way to that tree. He went all the way around it. The Pocket 4 did lose him for at least 2 to 3 seconds. And that tree is at least 25 to 30 feet maybe from here. And it was still able to pick him up and track him. As far as that first test, it was really good. So let's continue on with the next test. Now we're in an open parking lot. I have a vehicle over here behind the camera and I'm gonna spin it around. We're gonna go ahead and try the vehicle subject tracking and see how well it does. Okay, go ahead. I think that test was pretty successful. It followed him pretty cleanly all the way down to the end of the parking lot. It actually went much farther than I thought it was. And it also gives you a red square when you lose the subject tracking. It did pretty well. And as soon as he turned that corner, lost it. But it was definitely way more than 30 to 50 feet all the way down that parking lot. So it did pretty well for that subject tracking of a vehicle. We have a nice, beautiful black dog here. Her name is Jade. And we're going to go ahead and test and see how well it does. And if we can get her to move, she's pretty comfortable right now. So let's see how well we do. Jade. Come here, Jade. Come here. Good girl. Good girl. She doesn't like the camera? I don't know. She doesn't like she's getting mad that I have the camera out. It's okay. Don't be scared. I'm sorry. I wasn't mean to scare you with the camera. Okay, that was a tough one. Sort of worked, sort of didn't. It just depended on how close she got to the Pocket 4. The closer she got to the camera, I had a hard time tracking her. But if she was at least, 5 feet away, it definitely followed her. It just depends on your animal, how big it is and how fast they move, but it does work. To enable the active tracking, it's very simple. You just got to double tap on the screen, or you can use gesture controls, and I'll show you how that works. All right, we officially made it here to Niagara Falls. We're on the Canada side, and if you look over my shoulder, there she is. This is one of the 7 wonders of the world. And also another fun fact, Niagara Falls is one of the most popular tourist destinations in the world. If you want to bring the family, definitely a great time, recommend it. Anyway, I want to let you know, I've been recording on D-Log the whole time with an ND filter. We're going to try to go through a couple different scenarios here. We'll do the auto and then switch back to D-Log. This is going to be a perfect time to capture some really great footage. And then I also let you know there's a photo mode, so you can actually get photos with the Pocket 4. They have a standard and they call it SuperPhoto mode, which is going to use the full range of the sensor, so you should get a much higher quality photo with using the SuperPhoto mode. Obviously, you're going to get the most dynamic range and color when using the D-Log, but we'll see how well it does just doing the auto standard mode. Now, I also want to talk about some of the accessories I've been using with the Pocket 4. One of them is this PGY Tech Mantis Pod Z. This thing acts as a selfie stick, so it unfolds all the way out, so you can use it as a selfie stick. It also can be used as a tripod, so if you want to sit it down somewhere. And then the last way you can use it is briefcase mode. So if you want to get some low, shots with your action camera or the pocket camera, you can use that as well. It's really lightweight, really compact, a great, tripod to have when you're using these type of cameras. Now, the next accessory is this hard shell case, and we'll talk about why I got this later on in the video. But this thing is great. It can easily fit your Pocket 4. It's got this nice foam padding inside. and it can fit the full length of the Pocket 4 and that little adapter so you can attach to different accessories. And then the next accessory here on the left hand side is all of these different type of filters. I have a wide angle filter. This is the Nui magnetic filter set. And there's a CPL black mist and then the ND filter that I talked about before. A great case for protecting your Pocket 4 and keeping all your little accessories nice and neat. We're gonna do just a auto everything and hit record. Shooting at 4K 24 frames per second. We're now in 4K 24 in D-Log mode. I think we got a really nice shot here with the hotel and then some nice greenery there. They have a nice kind of like lawn area here in front of the Sheraton Hotel. And then we're gonna go ahead and snap one photo here. Got it. And now let's switch to the SuperPhoto. Boom. All right, let's go ahead and hit that. It takes a while to save when I do the SuperPhoto mode. It definitely takes a little bit longer to process. All right, we have some nice lined up trees here, perfectly parallel. And I have everything set to standard and 4K 24. So no D-Log here. We're gonna go ahead and hit record. We're just gonna walk nice and smooth here. Capture some of this beautiful trees, all lined up perfectly. Okay, 4K 24, D-Log, everything manual. Go ahead and get closer to the Niagara Falls so we can get some really great shots and more pictures. All right, we're gonna do a photo here on the standard mode. We're gonna capture that. And then let's switch to the SuperPhoto right here. This is perfect. We can get a nice view of Niagara Falls. Now, I also noticed there is a panoramic mode. I didn't try this yet, so let's go ahead and flip it to panoramic mode. Let's see what it is. All right, so it does 180. Try that right there. It says keep device upright. Oh yeah, look at that. It's automatically moving. Yeah, so you can do a full panoramic. Okay, now we're switching to 4K 24, everything auto, standard, no D-Log. All right, now we're in 4K 24, everything manual and D-Log. Now, I've been outside for about an hour and a half recording and taking pictures of the Pocket 4, and I'm in direct sunlight. The thing feels pretty warm on the outside, but I haven't gotten any, warnings about it overheating or anything. That's been great so far. I haven't had any problems with the Pocket 4 overheating on me, which I was a little bit worried about being in the direct sunlight, but so far it's been stable and been rock solid in the heat. I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit, but we're gonna test some low light performance. There's fireworks every night at 10 p.m. here in Niagara Falls. So I think it's gonna be a great test to see how well it does in those scenarios. And we all know low light is where cameras struggle, especially in this form factor. So let's go ahead and test that out later. We're all set up in my hotel room and everybody's nicely snuggled back there. You can see, look out on the window, we have a perfect view of Niagara Falls. We're gonna set up the Pocket 4 looking out Niagara Falls. We're gonna do two modes. There's a low light mode, so we're gonna try that first, and then we're gonna go to the D-Log mode and see how that looks like and what the difference is. All right, we're gonna go ahead and turn on the low light mode. Now here's the vertical mode. Just one caveat with this, you're capped at 3K resolution. So unfortunately, I'm reaching the end of my vacation here. So we're gonna head back home and we're gonna summarize this video and talk about the pros and cons and things I do and don't like about the Pocket 4. So I'll see you in a few days.
We finally made it back home safely. So now what are my thoughts and opinions on the Pocket 4 so far?
And how does it hold up as a travel camera? First is the form factor, ease of use, and discretion. It's so compact, lightweight, and just easy to manage while you're out walking around. Now, if you're the type of person that gets shy or embarrassed while you're recording in public, having a tiny device like this takes a lot of that mental pressure away compared to holding a big camera rig in front of your face. It's also really quick to start capturing footage. You just flip the screen and then you can start recording in a matter of seconds. The second thing is going to be the video quality. It easily rivals top tier smartphones because of the raw hardware. As you saw in some of the walking tests and footage from Niagara Falls, a true mechanical stabilization and a massive sensor will always be a phone's digital cropping and AI processing. You get real depth, true 10-bit color, and buttery smooth motion. Best of all, it means you can leave your phone safely in your pocket or bag, saving your battery, freeing up storage, and keeping your phone from overheating while you're capturing the moment. The third and final thing I really like about the Pocket 4 is the built-in storage. Having 107 gigabytes on board is a huge win for anyone traveling. It gives you an absolute peace of mind because if you leave your SD card back at the hotel or you accidentally fill it up mid-trip, you've got a massive safety net built right into the camera. Now let's talk about some of the things I didn't like about the Pocket 4. First is going to be the frame rate limitations. It's missing D-Log at 120 and 240 frames per second. Now 240 frames per second is a lot to process for such a small camera, so I can totally get that. But the Action 5 Pro can do 120 frames per second in D-Log, so it's a bit odd the Pocket 4 can't. The next thing is going to be the aspect ratios. DJI completely removed the 4:3 and 1:1 aspect ratios for video. You're locked into 16:9 widescreen or 9:16 vertical. Now if you're a daily content creator, you might miss the 4:3 for the flexibility to crop later. But honestly, if you're just using this to capture family memories while on vacation, you probably won't even care about this. Standard 16:9 widescreen is all you're gonna need. The next thing is gonna be the standard combo that comes with the Pocket 4. I thought it was lacking and a bit of a letdown. For starters, they don't even give you a little tripod, there's no hard shell case, and they give you this tiny little flimsy bag that doesn't protect anything. DJI really cheaped out on the standard combo. They should have included some type of durable shell that you can hold the Pocket 4 in. You'll have to rely on buying third-party accessories to keep it protected and safe. Now the last and final thing that I do have to mention is the availability in purchasing a Pocket 4 here in the United States. Since DJI products have been banned here, you'll have to rely on getting it from third-party sellers. You may have to pay a higher premium and need to be extra careful about scammers. This is where the Insta360 Luna will be more appealing to other customers. Look, the Osmo Pocket 4 is a surprisingly capable and compact device. It's super easy to use whether you just want to capture some great memories of your family, you need some cinematic smooth footage for content creation. Even with the few pitfalls I mentioned, if you want high quality video without hauling around big heavy gear, this is probably the best device to get the job done. I plan on using this every chance I get, and you really can't go wrong with having this in your camera bag. If you're interested in those accessories I showed you in this video for the Pocket 4, you can check out the link in the description. That's gonna be it for this video, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to feed that algorithm, smash that like button, throw those comments below, and I'll see you in the next one.